Thank you for stopping by the Massachusetts Beer Reviews channel of YouTube. I am Thomas Metal 75, and this is your Massachusetts Beer Reviews. And I just reviewed the dry hopped barley wine style ale from Avery and the Sierra Nevadas Beer Camp from 2017. And I drank maybe a couple ounces, and I poured it at a 69 out of 100 rating. It wasn't great, and I need to get another beer in me to see if that one's greater. And this one has potential on paper. It is the Atlantic Style Vintage Ale, which is English style ale brewed with plums. So we got another berry-ish kind of a beer, fruity beer. Collaboration happened with the Fuller's Brewery in London, England. We're calling our beer camp collaboration in an Atlantic style vintage ale, or Atlantic vintage ale, which combines elements from Fuller's robust vintage ales. Here's the 2012 vintage ale in a box, limited edition, 8.5%. That's what they look like. So, which combines elements from Fuller's robust vintage ales with some American-style hopping techniques. We used plums in the brew to complement Fuller's naturally fruity yeast strain, and we're bottle conditioning the beer to add for added longevity. This beer should age well in the bottle for years to come. Drink it now or stash it away to revisit in the future. If you buy enough beer camp variety packs, you can stash some away, I guess. 8.5% alcohol by volume, same as this 2012 Fuller's Vintage Ale from England. 40 IBUs. Magnum is the bittering hops. Centennial and Laurel, never heard of it, is the finishing hops. They're using 2-row pale and caramel malts, and other than that, plums they're using. So, I really hope this one's better than our last offering from Sierra Nevada and Avery Brewing Company. I'm sure the barley wines of Bigfoot and Hog Heaven are better than the beer from Beer Camp was. Here's the Beer Camp cap. Throwing it away. Same glassware. I did rinse it and clean it. This should be a treat, I'm hoping. And you're getting an amber-like color. It says brewed with plums for a touch of rich fruit flavor that both mimics and enhances the natural yeast-driven aromas. Cool. Sounds even better. So, yeah, the orangey amber rusty copper colors for sure. There's a white head on that, somewhat off-white, kind of tannish. A little bit of some yeast in there because it is bottle conditioned. Crackling and popping, for sure. This one was bottled in the 13th of April. The package was done in May, the black, and then at least in June. But this one should be alright, being a higher percentage beer. It already smells better. Already smells better. It smells mostly of Sierra Nevada piney notes. There is some leathery notes. But I do get the English kind of a caramel, toffee sweetness in there as well. Some brown bread is in there. A combination of a light molasses and a brown sugar is in there. Plums, I guess there is a little bit of a dark fruit thing, but unless I actually heard plums, that wouldn't really come to my mind. Well, yeah, I guess I do get it. And there's a little bit of a spicy note to it. I'm not getting much of the 8.5% there. So, let's try it. Cheers. Atlantic Style Vintage Ale from Sierra Nevada. Collaborated with Founders. That is so much better than that last beer. Yeah. More of those than in the nose. More of the plum and that dark fruited quality is coming out. Definitely. Toffee. Did I mention toffee? Toffee. Caramel malts. There's a bit of a woody sensation in the flavor, for sure. There's a bit of the 8.5% alcohol. This one is drinking like a sipper. The last one, even though it was 9.4, you could get a sting of some of the alcohol. It didn't, to me, taste like it was a sipper. And this one has a bigger body to me. There's some stickiness to it. There's a little bit of a chewiness to it. There's definitely a yeast presence for sure in that. Again, chewy beer. The yeast presence is like a brown bread, or I don't want to say like chalky, but kind of in that vein to it. What is it? It's it's 40 IBUs, but you can tell, just like in the dry hopped barley wine style ale, towards the end of that sip is where you're getting some of that Sierra Nevada classic whole cone hop, kind of a bitterness to it. It's definitely a sweeter beer for sure, but a little bit of the bittering is doing some good for balancing out the sweetness. Very molassesy, kind of brown sugary. Definitely big toffee notes. Like I said, I think this obviously would age pretty well. I have this 8.5% version of the actual Fuller's Vintage Ale Limited Edition, and they talk about, they say, like a fine wine or whiskey, this mellow golden ale will improve with age for many years to come. They use Goldings, Sovereign, and Target hops, which are a little different than what we're seeing from the Sierra Nevada beer. I guess it's more of an American style hopping that they're doing, which is actually what they say. They're using American style hopping techniques. They talk about this is a brew that has luxurious flavors. So they don't really describe the flavors, but I had the vintage ale once. I don't really remember much about it. This one is, again, I would say it's for the body, high on medium, but still pretty good accessibility. I think this one would be even better in the fall and in the winter time with a roast meal or something with a lot of herbs and spices on it. Could be even good with a big beef dinner, but it might overpower it a little bit. It might be good. What do they even say on their website? What they would pair it with? Sometimes here in Nevada it does, and they don't. I mean, I'm getting this plum, the food pairings, right? I'm getting the plum that's in here, but it's not huge presence. I guess it is adding a little bit of sweetness. But this one is probably a B-. It's unfortunately not the best beer known to mankind, and not certainly one of the better beers out of the Sierra Nevada variety pack with the Beer Camp series, but by far is it better than the last atrocity, which is the dry hopped barley wine style ale. I'll give this an 82 out of 100. Why the hell not? Yeah, let me know if you've had the vintage ale from Fullers. Let me know if you've had the Beer Camp beers. Let me know if you've had the vintage style ale. Atlantic style, definitely showing that it has more of an American twist on the hops thing, and then the real ale kind of flavors with the toffees and the malts and molasses kind of notes. So, cool beer, very interesting. Not the greatest thing known to mankind, but very interesting, and I would suggest you try it and let me know what you think. So, until next time, keep tasting these great beers. Cheers, and I will see you soon.